Hello, welcome back to another weekly live. If you're new here, hi, I'm Laken and I go live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern to answer any questions that you have about goals, planning life, whatever it is. If you are here live, hello, thank you so much for joining me. And if you are catching the replay, I appreciate it so much. If you are not ever able to make it live, but you do have a question, you can always pre-submit a question either in the question box I post on Instagram on Mondays or in the comments of one of the lives, and I will answer it either in the comments or the following week. But hello to everyone who is here. Let's kick it off with our first question that I always ask, which is, what is it that you are drinking while we're hanging out? If you're here live, put it in the chat, what it is that you're drinking. And if you're watching the replay, let us know down in the comments that you are part of the replay fam and what you are drinking while you're watching the replay. I just have water today. I already had a second cup of coffee and I am very behind on my water. I think it's just because it's freezing in here. And so I wanted a second cup of warm coffee and I need to catch up on my water. So I'm just having water today, hoping to get through this whole cup while we chat today. All right. Hello, everybody. So many first timers. Hello. Welcome. Loretta's got wine. Yum. So good. Eating lunch, lemonade, water, lots of water. There's always lots of people joining me with the water. Ooh, blackberry water, Carrie. That sounds good. Lots of water, decaf latte, a fresh cup of coffee. I love it. You are the coffee planner, mom, so you have to have coffee while you're watching anything. Water, just finished bar. Oh, Maggie, I know. I actually was telling Justina the other day, I was like, I know I'm in complete control of my schedule, right? But like my schedule doesn't work with a good number of her live classes right now. And it's kind of like, should I change that? And I'm not going to change this live, but I can't really ever do the 12:30 bar live anymore, which is kind of a bummer. Because then I could, but I would be gross for this as opposed to like feeling put together. But oh well. What are you reading right now, Amy? I just finished It Ends With Us is a book that my sister gave me over the break. She had just finished it, loved it, and was like, you have to read this book. And I kind of like have been kind of reading it very slowly. And then she wants me to bring it to her this weekend. She's like, can you bring me my book? Like, you're going to be done with it, or you're done with it. And I was like, nope. So I finished it last night. And then for nonfiction, I am reading Built to Belong, which is great. Super good. Lots of water. Just purchased The High Five Habit. I started The High Five Habit, which is Mel Robbins' latest book, over my vacation in November when I was on vacation during Thanksgiving, but I did not finish it. I don't have the hard copy. I have the Kindle, and I just have a really hard time with reading nonfiction on Kindle. It just doesn't really work with my brain. So I haven't decided if I'm going to try again and like try and keep reading it on my Kindle or wait until I can get a copy of it from the library. Diane, you recommended Atomic Habits. I love Atomic Habits. That's something I probably am due for a reread at this point, because I think the first time I read it was, I want to say it was 2019. It was a long time ago. Maggie, I'm rocking the messy hair. Yeah, exactly. My hair would not look like this if we just finished a bar class. So to be determined on whether I'm going to ever be able to join live. All right. Let's get into some questions. If this is your first time, welcome. You are welcome to ask me any questions that you would like to ask in the chat. If you're not sure how to phrase it into a question, you can make it a topic, and just a topic that you want to talk about, and we will just talk about a topic. Did you get any good Christmas presents? Nicola, my favorite Christmas present that I got was the bath pillow. I got a new bath pillow. I talked about it in the last day of my life. It's fantastic. It's massive, but like it's just the best. So that was my favorite Christmas present that I got. I got some other fun things as well from other members of my family, but that was my favorite. And then my sister, on my mom's side of the family, of the siblings, since we're almost all adults, one is 17, but we're all basically adults. We used to get gifts for everybody. So you got something for each sibling and it was a much lower price point. Now we do Secret Santa style and we each get a sibling and it's a much higher price point. And so my sister got me this year. And so she got me a bunch of stuff for my bachelorette party, like pajamas and a fanny pack and a special cup and all that kind of stuff. And it was just like, that was also a really fun gift to open. And I was really excited. Do you like organization books? Have I read The Home Edit? I have not read The Home Edit book. I do like organization books, but I feel like, and again, I haven't read it, so I don't know about not that one specifically, but I do feel like for home and organization stuff, I benefit more from like videos and like watching something as opposed to reading something. So I'm sure it's got a lot of really great pictures in it though. What is the brand of the bath pillow? I linked it in the description of that day in the life. If you want to go grab it, I can link it in this video as well. It's just from Amazon, but it's awesome. Loretta, what Harry Potter house are you in, which is Sam? So I am a Ravenclaw, and he is a Slytherin. So what are some of the systems of life that you've been setting up? How do you decide which ones to do and how to set them up? Amanda, that is a loaded question. Can you give me an example of what you mean by systems of life? Like, I feel like my routines, like my morning routine, my evening routine are systems of life. I feel like working on my meal planning, which is one of my quarterly goals, is a system. Obviously the birthday, like my overarching annual goal of setting up birthdays is a system. I think the way I decide is just where do I feel like I am struggling, or I feel like I'm always, I don't know if behind is the right word, but I always feel like it causes me more stress about it than it probably needs to. And so what can I change to make that system more like flow better in my life, essentially? And just picking which one is going to be the best for me in that moment. And the thing I think I've also had to realize over time is that it changes over time, right? There are going to be systems that I implement that then don't work, and because something else changes in my life, and now I've got to come up with a new system. Oh, I thought I saw a list on something you shared and it said like trash. Sam takes out the trash, so that's not a system that I have to work on. But I don't know. If you can find that list, we can keep chatting about it. For your birthday cards, are you buying in person or online? I need to start gathering cards. For starters, I'm trying to use the ones I already have. I have a good bit of birthday cards. Mostly they are from Erin Condren or Cold Fay What Matters that I've had for a very long time that I'm trying to get through those. And then in terms of buying new ones, I am making it a point to always check the card section of Trader Joe's when I go grocery shopping every week, and just see if there's any cards there that I want to have. And that's it for now. I'm not buying any additional cards yet. For now, I was just organizing the ones that I have, and now I'm going to try to start using the ones that I have. And then while I am trying to be on top of birthdays, it also doesn't necessarily mean that I'm giving every single person a card. I know people have mixed feelings on cards, right? Like whether they love them and they love receiving that card, or whether it's like, that is a waste of paper and I'm not even going to keep it. So I'm using the mindset that like, if I am ordering the gift online, I'm not going to send an additional card. Like for example, one of my friends who's a January birthday, I just ordered something online, had it shipped directly to her. I did not send her a card on top of that. But for another friend, actually for a couple of friends, I ordered like the same thing from the same place. And so I'm getting all of them shipped to me, and then I'm going to send them out to my friends. I'll include a card in that package and just use one of the ones I already have. That's my plan. Lisa, how is the process of enter recipes going? Do you feel like it's going to pay off? 100,000,000%. So far, so good. If you don't know what she's talking about, if you haven't watched any of my goals videos, I am trying out a system called Plan to Eat for meal planning, and I've been entering in recipes. Last week, I actually used it for the first time to actually create my grocery list, and it was great. It was really, really helpful. So far, I do feel like it's going to pay off. I've actually entered a lot more recipes than like what my plan was to do 3 a week, and we're a week and a half into the new year. And so I should only be at 6. And I think I'm at like 20 or something. I've been entering a lot of recipes, but I'm loving it so far. I will definitely report back in future goals videos on how that's going. Cam, this is a great question. What did you get categorized as when you did your color consult? Have you done anything with that information, and how do you plan to use that moving forward? So if you don't know, or you missed that video, I did do a color consultation with a company called Created Colorful. I'll leave it linked down below if you want to check it out. They are like way on not back order. That's not the right phrase, but there's like a wait list right now to get a consultation. But if you are interested, you can sign up for the wait list, and then when they get released, you can sign up for one. Basically what you do is you send them a bunch of pictures of your face with a bunch of colors draped over your chest, and then they tell you which color family you look the best in. I am a clear winter is what my results were. I have not done anything. Well, let me take that back. I have done something with that information, which is kind of the same answer to how do I plan to use that. I am just using that when I buy new things. I'm not clearing out my entire wardrobe right now. I'm not taking everything that's not in my colors. And so I'm not always wearing the perfect color for me. But as I buy things going forward, and that's what I've been doing for the last 6 months since I got my results, is when I go shopping, I pick up the picture of my colors and I make sure that what I'm buying fits into my colors. Tammy, are you getting excited for your bridal party trip? Yes. I'm so excited. I have a lot to do in the next 48 hours before I leave, but I'm very excited. Jill, what do you think about putting to-do list items on your tending list? I made a whole video about this. The summary of it is you can put whatever the heck you want on your tending list, and whatever works for you and getting the things done that you need to get done, whether they in your head are to-do list items or they're things related to your goals. If it works for you, then do that. But I would also recommend going and checking out that video. I give a lot more suggestions and ideas and thoughts about it. What parks are you visiting in Walt Disney World? So we are doing 3 parks actually in one day, which is a lot. But the plan is to do Hollywood Studios because those are the best rides in my opinion, and I love rides. Magic Kingdom because you can't not stop at Magic Kingdom, see the castle, and then Epcot because we're excited to have some fun. Nicola, I know this isn't a question, but I want to add something to this. She says, I was very impressed with how well you dealt with the misspelling in the vision board video. I feel like you would have ripped it up a few years ago. I agree with you completely. If you've been watching me for a long time, I would have absolutely done the whole thing over again a few years ago. And even as I look at it now, there's things about it I would change. But you're right. And I have worked on that a lot. And we talked about this. I can't remember if it was on one of these lives or if it was a Patreon live Q&A about perfectionism and what you are saying. It was the Patreon. It was the most recent Patreon Q&A. I remember now. When you do things like that and you let your perfectionism or your perfectionist tendencies get the best of you, you're sacrificing something in return. And sometimes that sacrifice to you might be worth it, especially if it's something like, and this is something I'm going to look at every day for an entire year. Maybe it would have been worth it to go back and do that. But there are other things, that you're sacrificing. Number one is probably some sort of financial sacrifice because you're going to buy it again or print it again or do it again. There's also likely a time sacrifice, right? I would sacrifice the time to do that whole thing again. And is that worth my time? Was that little mistake worth my time? And I think I have practiced over the years getting much better about realizing that it's not. Most of the time, it's not worth my time to redo it or the money to redo it. Dollar Tree is a great place to get cards too. Yeah, Debbie, we don't have Dollar Tree here in New York, so that is not an option for me. But for those who are also looking to get a card stash, good recommendation. Hello, Carrie. I'm glad you're able to join again, and thanks for sharing your name. If you do have a name or like a handle on YouTube that does not have your name in it and you have a question, I would love for you to include your name in the question so that I know what your name is. Victoria, this is a really great mindset. I look at it as cards bring me joy to send them, so I don't care what happens after they're received. I like that. You're doing it for you. What are some low brain power activities I can do to stay productive? I feel like the answer to this is not necessarily let me give you a list of activities, but maybe more to encourage you. If your brain needs a break, that knowing that resting your brain is productive, and you don't necessarily have to be doing something else that's productive to give your brain a rest, right? Just because you're resting your brain doesn't mean you also have to be resting your body or not resting your to-do list. So I would encourage you to just when you need that low brain power, and we all know what that feels like, right? You're like mentally done and you just need a break. Whatever it is that you need, even if it doesn't feel productive, it's productive because it's replenishing your mental energy, right? And that's sometimes when I would go for a walk, because I know that going for a walk is, while it's physically something, it's mentally a break, but sometimes it's also just for me sitting on the couch and watching Netflix. Do you have a home cleaning system that you recommend? I just started looking at the Fly Lady system and was curious if you had one. I do not. I have tried a bunch of them. Last year in particular, I found this YouTube channel that had this combo of the Fly Lady and the Clean Mama system, and that seemed like it was going to work for me, and then I gave up on it. So I have not found a home cleaning system that works for me yet. I know a lot of people use Fly Lady. They also use Clean Mama. I feel like there's one more big one I'm forgetting that I don't know what it is right off the top of my head, but no, I don't have a cleaning system that works for me right now. Have you seen the Hallmark video greeting cards? I have not, but that sounds fun. My Mima used to always send, they weren't Hallmark, but she would always send digital cards. Like in my email, like I would get an email with a digital card for everything, every holiday. It felt like it was at least once a month, if not multiple times a month, I was getting an e-card for my Mima, and it was the best. It was the best. I recently became a supervisor, and I'm getting tons of emails today with lots of to-dos for other people. How do I balance that with getting my own work done? Oh, that is very difficult. I have only ever supervised one person, which was a summer intern. And for me, it was my boss over the summer knew that I was going to be spending a good chunk of my day working and managing the summer intern. And that in turn meant that I was going to have less time to dedicate to my own personal work that I was working on. And so it was just a conversation with my boss, like going into the summer, this is how this is going to look while the intern is here. I think a couple of tips that I can think of off the top of my head is blocking off time on your calendar to get your own work done and not looking at your emails. Like have a plan in place that like your direct reports can reach out to you in a different way. If your company uses like Slack or, what is the one that we used at work? Not between Same Time and Slack, but there was another one in between there. I can't remember the name of. Maybe they reach out via that if it's more of an emergency, whereas the emails is not, it can wait an hour, right? Commit to like an hour that you can block and like do something else to focus on your own work during that hour. Loretta, will you be vlogging or doing Instagram stories? I am assuming that you're talking about Disney. I am not planning to vlog this weekend. We will see how I feel about Instagram stories. I'm not going to commit to anything because I don't know. We'll just see. Do you think things like HelloFresh are useful for meal planning, debating signing back up? 100,000,000%. I love those systems. I think they're also great for not having waste, not like having food go bad. They take all the guesswork out of meal planning and they make grocery shopping so much easier. My only holdbacks with those types of systems, actually, well, I have two, but like one is the main one for me is cost. It is just so much more expensive per meal to do it that way than to cook it at home. Now, if you are going from eating out to that, it is not that big of a difference. But if I'm grocery shopping at Trader Joe's and then comparing that to something like HelloFresh, it's a big cost differential for us. The other one is health. If you have specific health needs, or if you are trying to focus on what you're, eating, some of them are not great. For me, I found that Home Chef was the best from that standpoint for me, for what we wanted in our dietary needs. And there's a lot more. There's a new one popping up every day. So you likely would be able to find something that fits that now. But those are my two like things that hold me back from doing them all the time. Jessica, great question. We talked about this a little bit last week, but I'm going to answer this again. Says, I've been giving Routinery a try. There's aspects I like, but I've been finding the countdown timers to be a bit anxiety inducing. Is there a way to use it as more of a checklist? So there is no way to not have the countdown. So I'm going to give you like 3 options to still use the app without feeling anxiety about the countdown. Option 1 is just to set each one for 1 minute and know that you're going to go over it. And you're just going to, and then turn off the notifications that come in like at 5 minutes, 20 minutes, like those notifications, turn all those off. And then only have it in there for 1 minute. And then you go in and check it off. You could also do it like that and go check it off at the end if you didn't want it to tell you as you were going. Option 2 is set them all for like an hour, right? Have them all for way longer. And then the countdown doesn't even matter. And then in either of those scenarios, you can like close the app. Now, don't close out of it so that it stops the routine, but just like close it from your screen so that you can't see it. And again, if you turn off all those notifications, you can have it not pop up saying time to move on to the next one, or it's been 5 minutes and you're over time. You can have those not pop up. And then you just manually go in and click, okay, I'm ready to go on to the next one. Oh my gosh, Crafting Ruby Dreams. Your name is Katie. Thank you for sharing that, because I'm pretty sure for however many months that you have been joining our live chats, I've been calling you Ruby. So I appreciate you letting me know. Yes. And then Carrie made this recommendation to Patreon too. We talked about Routinery as well. She uses an app called Structured that helps like her coordinate her routines. I haven't had a chance to take a look at it yet. It's on my list to kind of dig into and see. I like Routinery and it works for me, but if you do struggle with the timers, that's an option. Here's another cleaning system option recommended from Tammy. She uses Passionate Penny Pincher Home Planner. It's definitely Christian in content. Perfect. All right. Lots of recommendations. Oh, here's a recommendation from Amy. Switch to Green Chef so you could get gluten-free. I think Home Chef has gluten-free options too. That's another point, Katie. Good. Thank you for adding that in. Going back to the meal kits, some of them are really time intensive in terms of prep, cooking, and dishes. And that was another thing for me that I forgot to mention, especially with HelloFresh. It felt like a lot of them were like really long recipes, and I did not want to spend that much time in the kitchen. And so with Home Chef, I could do like the 15-minute ones, and those sometimes would take more than 15 minutes. But even if I'm willing to spend 30 minutes in the kitchen on weekdays, that's like my capacity. So good point. Oh, Susan, I'm so glad. I tried Laken's tip to overestimate the time and it really helped. I just added a few minutes to each task and it helped fix the stress with the timer. I'm glad that that worked for you because I do know that that's really common with people with using Routinery for the first time. I also will tell you that once you use it more regularly, your time estimate is pretty darn on point. Like most of my morning routine, I'm pretty close to what it's going to be. Now, I can be off by a minute or two, but that doesn't bother me if I'm over or under by a minute. But most of mine are pretty close at this point in terms of an estimate. Carrie, I've been using Territory when I know I'm going to have a crazy busy week. The food is already prepared. That's really helpful. Yeah, I think one of my struggles too with those meal delivery services is you have to like either commit that you're going to get them every week or like remember to turn them off, because I definitely think there are times that I want to have them like when I come home from a vacation and I don't have time to go grocery shopping, but then I still get some healthy meals. In fact, like as I'm saying that out loud, I think I should do that for the week we get back. But it's also like, then I have to remember to turn it off for the next week if I don't want it, kind of thing. By the way, another tip for those meal planning services, going back to the comment that Katie made about spending time in the kitchen. One of the things that I did when we were consistently getting home, I want to like mix them up. We were consistently getting Home Chef was the one we were getting. Instead of doing 3 meals that would require me to be in the kitchen 3 times a week for those periods of time, for 2 of us, I would actually get the family of 4 and I would get 2 meals. So I would get 2 different recipes but 4 servings of each. And then we would use it for leftovers. So, because we like leftovers in our household. I also had this issue at the beginning, Amanda. She says HelloFresh didn't work for us because they kept having problems delivering to the military base. I also struggled with HelloFresh deliveries as well, and it was kind of a pain. Now that we work from home, it's a little bit easier, and I know I'm going to be here to get it. But definitely, depending on where you live and if you don't work from home, the delivery option can be difficult as well. Carrie, I order for a week and then pause my account. It's way easier to do than HelloFresh. Okay, I'm going to look into Territory because I think that again, I think for us, I don't feel like we need it right now, given our budget and our goals and our lives, our lifestyle, that we need it every single week. I don't feel that. But when we are going to be out of town and then we come home and neither of us wants to go to the grocery store when we get home on whatever day or the next day because we want to get back to work, then it's a really good option for us. And so I think is what works well for our situation, but that's a good to know. This is a fun question. Have you been to both Disney in Florida and California? If so, which was your favorite? No, I have never been to Disneyland in California. I was supposed to go for the first time with Go Wild, but obviously that's not happening now. So no, I've only ever been to Florida. So Florida is my favorite, but I do have like a lifelong goal to go to all of them. So we went to China a few years ago for a friend's wedding. And so we have 10-year visas for China. And I've told Sam, like, I want to go back and go to Disney Shanghai. Like, that is on my, like, we need to do that before those visas expire. I'm glad we're talking about this too, Tammy. I think that these meal delivery services are something for sure that everybody's kind of already always interested in. And then they're like, oh my gosh, there's too many options. I can't decide if it's worth it. So trying to figure it out, it's definitely a good conversation. And hearing which ones people like and which ones are helpful for them, I think is also really helpful. So far we have vote for territory. HelloFresh is also an option. I like Home Chef. And then Green Chef was the one that Amy said she gets gluten-free. Oh, you're single, so territory works better for you. When you had a partner, you did HelloFresh. Okay, good to know. They also all have different minimums. That's something else to look out for, depending on how many people you're cooking for. And if you're willing, or the people in your family are willing to eat leftovers. Like, my stepdad does not eat leftovers. So like, when I told my mom that trick that I was doing where I was getting the family of 4, 2 meals, she was like, well, we can't do that because my husband won't eat leftovers. So like, everyone's different. Blue Apron also has great options. I think they were the original. I think that was the very, very first, that was the first one I remember hearing of, was Blue Apron, and got as a gift like a very long time ago. Tammy, you just booked your California flights and you're going from Disney World to Disneyland. Oh my gosh, that's so fun. I can't wait to hear your comparisons. That's super fun. Home Chef was your favorite. Okay. Interesting. Everybody has different preferences. My best friend did Purple. Not sure if it's still around, which was all vegetarian. Okay. So if you're vegetarian, that's also an option. I do HelloFresh as single, and I kind of adapt the recipes to get a lunch and a dinner out of one recipe. So that is also what we used to do with HelloFresh when we did HelloFresh before I discovered Home Chef's recipes. From a health standpoint, I would break up, because some of those recipes would be like a very, very high calorie number for one meal. So I would take it, split it up, add some vegetables, and then we would have dinner that night and then a leftover. That's how we did it too. Purple carrot, maybe. I've been doing HelloFresh for more than 2 years, and it's been life-saving. Before then, I was always grocery shopping at 7 or 8 p.m. because I didn't have anything to eat. Oh my gosh. Whoa. Joanna, that is tough. I think, yeah. And again, it depends on your life and your circumstances and what does grocery shopping look like for you and all of those things. Not that I like grocery shopping, but it's, I like saving money more for our situation right now. All right. I think I'm all caught up on comments and questions. Oh, this is a good tip. I always make extra protein like chicken or beef when cooking to use later in the week. That way I can make faster weekday meals. Definitely a good tip. Which candle are you burning? I have no idea. This was a gift. Actually, this is a small little baby candle. It was a gift, and I don't know, it's cute, and I like the way it looks in the background. I used it the other day when I was filming because it's cute in the background. So now I'm just trying to use it up because it's so small and cute. What was the highlight of your week? Oh, Lisa. It's like I know this question is coming and I still don't know how to answer it well. I'm like looking around my office as if my office is going to give me an answer for this. I mean, I'm just going to say dance or the Cowboys win, like the Cowboys' domination over the Eagles. That was also pretty fantastic. There was also just some really great football this weekend to watch in general. Tammy, what has been your favorite thing about doing more one-on-one coaching? This is a fun question. So my favorite thing about it in general, which just gets amplified now that I'm able to have more, is how unique it is. So I think one of the things that I always really struggled with working in jobs was getting bored with doing the same thing over and over again. I'm pretty sure that's why I really needed to switch from being an actuary to when I moved over into product management, is I just needed things to feel different on a regular basis. And so well, even if I am like, I have 10 coaching calls this week, for starters, everybody's on a different week. Like, I mean, I have a couple of duplicates, but there are, I mean, of the 10 people, I probably have 5 different phases like that we're in. And so that gives me, that difference. But then also all of their goals are so unique. And so every conversation is different. And that's why it really does work one-on-one. It only works one-on-one because everybody's goals are so unique, and breaking them down and figuring out the next step and holding them accountable to that looks so different for every person. But I just love hearing about it. Like, everybody's why and goals are all so different. Even people who've had similar goals, it ends up being a different journey because everybody is different. And I love that. Amy, as someone who is single, being able to get smaller portions sent to you is awesome. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Everybody in Jacksonville was wondering where the Jags came. The Colts just didn't want to go to the playoffs, I guess. They just were like, no, thank you. That was crazy. Lisa, I love this. Part of why I ask, she asks me every week what my highlight of the week was, is that we're also focused on the things wrong, that we forget about the things that go right. I think that that's so true. And I love that you asked me that. And I would encourage all of you to share what was your highlight from the last week? Great question. When is the next sign up for the one-on-one and the group coaching? So one-on-one is an ongoing sign up. You can always reach out and talk to me. I think my next opening is February, either the week of the 14th or the 21st. I don't remember right this second, would be the next opening to start one-on-one coaching. The group coaching is likely going to be after the wedding. So end of March. Ooh, Casey, how do you prioritize all of the things you want to accomplish now with limited time? But see, on one hand, I feel like I don't have limited time because I feel like I have unlimited time. But that said, there is still limited number of hours in the day. And so I think what has helped me is being able to plan out the whole year and seeing like, okay, you can do all of these things this year, but you can't do them all in Q1. And it's always been like that with goals, right? I've always had that mindset with personal goals, but for my business, it's been, and I don't know if that is what you are asking about, if you're asking about business stuff, that's how I interpreted your question, is that I took everything I wanted to do this year and I plopped it out over the rest of the year. So there are some things that I'm excited about, but it's not happening till October because it just, given my schedule and the amount of hours in the day, it's not going to happen until then. But I think knowing that it's at least written down for that point makes me feel better. What are some things that you have learned from your one-on-one calls? Heather, this is fun. So I think one of the big takeaways, which I always knew, but seeing it play out with people in real life is really eye-opening, is how much we need to start with where we are. So for example, the internet tells you, whoever the internet is, you need to drink 64 ounces of water a day. Okay, great. And for those of you who are, I was thinking about, we had this conversation in Patreon, for those of you who are not in the United States, ounces, we'll just pretend I said milliliters. But you're only drinking 8. You're only drinking 1 glass of water a day. Trying to jump up to 64 tomorrow is setting yourself up for failure. And you're going to fail more times than you're going to succeed. And as humans, we need to succeed more times than we fail in order to continue to move forward. And so, but as humans, we have a hard time applying that to ourselves, right? I can say that to you, but you're like, yeah, but I should be drinking 64. So I should make that my goal, even if I fall short. What you don't realize is that if instead you set a goal to drink 16 ounces of water and then do that consistently for a week and then up it to 24 consistently for a week and build towards your 64 ounces that way, you're going to be much more successful. And so by having me there to be like, no, all you need to do this week is focus on 24 ounces of water. And they're like, okay. And having somebody else tell them that they're so much more likely to do it. And then when we come back the next week and they're like, I did it 6 out of 7 days and they feel awesome, then we up it a little bit more. And just that seeing that small progress play out it's really cool. And really, it just reiterated a lot of things that I knew, but have learned why it's so hard for us to do on our own. What have you learned about yourself or Sam from your pre-wedding counseling that surprised you, if you're comfortable sharing? Obviously, a lot of the stuff that we talked about in pre-wedding counseling is very private, but honestly, one of the things that I think we learned that I'm really proud of is how much we'd actually already talked about. Like, she would bring up a topic and be like, okay, let's talk about this. And we would look at each other and we'd be like, we've already talked about this. And we would share it with her still. And she would sometimes have some good follow-up questions and we would keep talking about it. But for the most part, there was nothing that we hadn't already like discussed at some point in over the course of our relationship. And I can't say all of those conversations happened before we got engaged, but we've also been engaged for a very long time. And so I reiterated a lot of stuff for us that made us feel really good about the conversations that we have, that we're on the same page with things, we've compromised on things, and like we have a plan for our future that we are both really excited for. So I know that was kind of vague, but highlights, Detroit winning on Sunday. I mean, can we talk about the team that they played though? Because they didn't play all their players for the whole game. Sleeping in on Sunday. Oh yeah. Sleeping in. I don't mean to dismiss Detroit's win. I'm sorry. Working out daily, twice a day. That is amazing. Amazing. Highlight, ballet started back up again today. I love that for you. So fun. I've been able to get into a groove with a morning routine that includes reading, but what about writing and reflection? How do you work that in? The same way that you incorporated reading, right? So if you are going to add something in, step one is you got to figure out the time. Are you going to get up a little bit earlier, or are you going to cut the time from something else and then start with it small, right? With writing, I started with literally writing a sentence and then worked my way up to like a couple of sentences and then a paragraph. And now I write like a half a page, and that's all I've worked my way up to. And for now, that's working for me. But figuring out what am I getting up earlier, or what am I sacrificing that time, and then adding little bits at a time. More highlights. Planning my son's 20th birthday dinner. That is so fun. Your partner coming in from out of town. I love seeing your highlights. I feel like we need to do this every week, Lisa. After you ask, everybody else needs to share. And if you're watching the replay, I want you to comment below also with your highlight from the week. Jennifer, great question. I'm struggling to get up from my desk at work and take a break with extra work coming in. Does anyone have any recommendations to help me take a break? So I am going to answer this depending on what kind of person you typically are. And if you haven't ever taken Gretchen Rubin's 4 Tendencies, I would recommend maybe taking that quiz. But you could also just maybe, depending on what kind of person you are you somebody who needs all of the research and data and all of the reasons why it's important for you? If that's the case, I would just literally Google why taking a break makes you more effective, and know that even 5 minutes is going to help you be more successful and productive after you take that break. So then you set timers and you just literally get up from your desk, take 5 minutes, and go ahead and plan what it is you're going to do during that break. On the flip side, if you are somebody, she calls it an obliger, where you need accountability to somebody externally to do things, plan breaks with other people. Is there another coworker that you can say, okay, at this time, I'm going to message you and we're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we'll check back in with each other? Or is there somebody else in your household you can do that with, somebody you can call, and you have like your scheduled time that you're going to take a break, and somebody else is holding you accountable to that as well? I think the biggest thing is going to be reminders, and also remembering that the work is always going to be there. The to-do list is not going away. You will always feel like the to-do list is never done. But I promise you that by taking more breaks, you're going to end up getting more done in the long run. Amanda, I love this highlight. Had our 6-month check-in with our kids to future plan and dream. It turned into a great discussion. I love that. That is so awesome. Sadie, interesting question. Do you think there's such thing as too many routines and systems? I think with anything in life, there is obviously an extreme of something being too much, right? There's always going to be that end of the spectrum where something is too much. It just depends on what that looks like in your life. If creating routines and systems is becoming more detrimental than it is beneficial, then maybe you're at too much. But if the routines and systems you're adding in are giving you more time, more money, more freedom, more something in order to do things that you really want to do, then no, I think add all the routines and systems that you want. Highlight, Sunday dinner with my son who moved out in August. It was great to have all 3 kids here for dinner. Oh, I love that. Crystal, I actually had somebody message me this question on Instagram today too. Will Accelerate Your Goals be available Q1 or later down the road? Right now I have the Accelerate Your Goals at Your Own Pace slated for Q2. So April, May is what I'm planning to work on after the wedding. Joanna, highlight. I've left work before 6 p.m. every day so far this week. Amazing. Susan, I've walked my little pug every day. She's very happy. I love that. Katie, I do a morning brain dump in Notion because it's easier for me to type when I'm half asleep. In the evening, I also do that in Notion, but journal my Moxie Life horizontal too. I love that. Got to work with what works with you. Figure out what works with you and your tendencies. Highlight, our dog needed emergency surgery. Oh my gosh, I hope they're okay. We got to bring him home on Monday. Wishing speedy recovery. I know what it's like to have a post-surgical pet. That's tough. Can you talk about tips for rebel tendency being productive in the day? So for rebels, it's typically you don't want anyone to tell you what to do. So you reminding yourself that you are in complete control of your schedule and not doing things in a certain order. So here are all the options of things that I could do today, and then pick which one you want to do at any given moment. Oh, Mallory, I love this. Our supervisor basically forces us to walk in the afternoon, and now it's something I always look forward to. That's awesome. Brittany, highlight, finding a $50 Visa gift card with changing purses. I love that. I found a Costco gift card when I was going to find my company credit card that I used to have for travel, business travel. Remember when that was the thing? And it's like where I have all my like cards. And so I've got like, insurance cards and my library card and those kinds of things. And I was looking for my business credit card, and I found a Costco gift card that I got for Christmas 2019. And so I never made it to Costco between that and like everything shutting down. And now we live much further from Costco. And so I need to like figure out when I'm going to use that and how I'm going to use that. Definitely a highlight for sure. Still on summer holiday and the weather has been spectacular. That's so fun. My 14-month-old learning how to sign for more food. I love that. More. My brothers did that too. One of my January goals is to increase my water consumption. My goal is 3 to 9 cups a day. I like to ballpark it. And if that works for you, right? Setting up a range of a goal works for you, do it that way. But if checking things off, like the achievement of doing what you said you're going to do also really motivates you, start with 3, right? Start with 3 cups and work on that one until that one's good and consistent. And then you up it to 4 and then you keep working. And even if it takes you the whole year to get to 9, then you're at 9. Love this. Jennifer, highlight. I started working out 1 day a week and I have worked out towards working 3 days a week and crushed that goal last week. Baby steps. Baby steps. Can you order online at Costco and have things shipped to your apartment? I am pretty sure the answer to that is yes, but I am also pretty sure you can't get everything that you want from Costco shipped to your apartment. And then you also have to pay for shipping or delivery. And I don't really want to do that. What I'm thinking is that I am going to try to go to Costco when I'm in a place with my parents and I can just go to Costco and I'm going to spend it not on food. I'm going to spend it on like books and clothes. That's what I'm thinking. Or you know what? We have plans to go to Costco for the actual wedding for like the like gift bags and stuff. I think I'll just save it for that. I don't know. The wedding budget at this point is like slightly questionable. Oh, Tammy, you can get things delivered free from Costco. Interesting. I don't know. I did do Costco delivery at the very beginning of the lockdown, but I haven't done it since. Teresa, I'm going back to work next week and want to set some work goals. Moxie didn't go enough into detail. Can you recommend something that would help me work through that? So for me, when I worked in my corporate job, setting work goals always was just a conversation with my manager, right? And it was a conversation of like what he wanted, what I wanted, and what we were working towards. And so I think if there's somebody at your company that you have that conversation with, I'm assuming the way you say I'm going back to work, if that is like you're working for somebody else in an office, is having that conversation about like, what do you see as the next steps, and setting goals based off of that. I think as with any goals, asking yourself just like, what would I want? Like, what would I want to see happen? So when it comes to your work, like if you could have somebody else's job, what would that be like in your company? Or if you could do a certain type of project, what would that be? And set goals based on those desires. Highlight, finished your 4th book of the year. Amy, that's so exciting. I like discussing personal goals and habits and work ones because I find I set nothing for work and I don't have any systems I use. This week I started using OneNote. I'm such a paper person and feel like with work, I have to be an electronic person. You definitely do not have to be any kind of person. I mean, for me with work, when I worked in my corporate job, I always set work goals through our like online system, and that's just how I always set them. And I did find myself to be a more electronic person, but if you want to write your work goals down on a piece of paper or like in a notebook, do that. Do it. But then also on the flip side, if you want to be an electronic person with your real life, sometimes it is beneficial. I have migrated a lot of stuff electronically this past like 2 years, and it's been really helpful. So you get to be whatever kind of person you want to be. All right, I'm all caught up again. What else is on your mind? I loved sharing our highlights. I thought that was super fun. Any other struggles that you're having or questions that you have about goals, habits? We're 12 days into the new year, which means we have so many days left. That's all, like, that is all I can tell you about that. Like, we try really hard not to focus on the last 12 days, what you have or have not done, and think about all the opportunities that you have for the remaining 353 days of the year, which is so many. Ooh, this is a good question to think about work goals from Joanna. I journaled about what do I want my career to look like when I retire? That's a good question. I'm a hybrid person. Yeah, I've turned into a hybrid person as well when it comes to like paper and digital combo. Crystal, this is a good question. How do you measure your water when you put a lot of ice in it? I tend to use 30-ounce bling tumblers, but I don't know how to create accurate measuring. Sorry, there's like a weird line on my face here. So the first thing I'm going to say here is you don't need to have an accurate measure for your water goal. I think that when we put too much pressure to be so perfect in relation to measuring something, we're going to fall apart in terms of trying to track it. So figure out which one. I'm going to give you a couple options. Figure out which one works best for you and just go from there. So option 1 is you don't worry about the ice. You just say, like, you have your 30-ounce cup, right? I'm going to have 2 of my 30-ounce cups. Ice melts, it doesn't melt, whatever it is, it's going to end up balancing itself out enough. It doesn't need to be so specific. Option 2 is you always let the ice melt and you drink it until the water cup is empty, and then know you're just getting more because the ice is in there. Option 3, which is what I do, is I have a separate jug that's got my like ounces on it, right? That big jug that measures, and then I pour it over the ice, and I basically always drink it before the ice melts. And so I don't count the ice because I just keep pouring it over, if that makes sense. But again, the biggest tip I can give you is just not worrying about it being super accurate and just knowing that it'll balance itself out. I'd love to hear about more electronic systems tools that work for people. So I will give mine. For now, my Google Cal. Like, I can't live without my Google Cal. This Plan to Eat system that I'm trying for meal planning has been great. I'm trying a new budgeting system online, but I've always budgeted at least in a spreadsheet. I can't handwrite budgeting. It just doesn't work for me. And then my iPad for like tracking my goal idea lists, having it stored in GoodNotes on my iPad. Ooh, a recommendation. Amanda, anyone here who likes young adult books? I'm reading the Inheritance Games, and it's so good over halfway through. Book recommendation. I'm working towards developing a rewards list for hitting various goals. Do you have something similar to either motivate or celebrate? So I do not have a specific list, Katie. I just sort of do it as I go, which is not, that's like, don't do that, because that doesn't always work. But I also... I don't necessarily struggle with it. Now, that said, I like to bribe myself as needed, right? If there's like a moment that I'm like, I need this, I need to get through whatever this is, I will bribe myself like that day. I'll be like, if you get through this, then you get to do this, and do it on a smaller scale. I don't necessarily do it on a larger scale until I hit bigger milestones, but that's just what I need. You have to figure out here what it is that you need to motivate and celebrate you. celebrate your goals. If you are motivated by like buying something, then setting that up in advance to be the reward for hitting a certain thing. Or if you are motivated by celebrating with a certain person, then setting that up in advance to hit that goal. I think the big key here is knowing what you need, knowing what you need, and then planning it in advance and not just expecting that you're going to celebrate once you get there. Because once you get there, you're going to forget about all the work that you've already done and you're going to forget to celebrate. Teresa, yes, I have a manager and we set 2 objectives per quarter, but I also want things like organize inbox, team plan, growing my team members. Those are also great goals. I think, yeah, you just think about what it is that you want and then setting a goal related to that. Becca, I did my January tending list, but my priority shifted completely and I'm not working towards that list, so I'm not using it. Should I white it out and add in some new goals or wait until the February list? I would not encourage you to wait till February. There's still so much time left in January. We have 3 weeks basically of time left. I would not wait till February. If you have some empty lines, I wouldn't even white it out. I would just leave the stuff that I'm not going to do and add some new stuff. Or what you could do is go to a future month and photocopy it and then cross off January at the top and make a new January one. Okay, I think I got all the questions. Ooh, the second book is even better. Well, now I'm gonna have to read this book. Do you own this book? How are you reading it, Amanda? Is it on Kindle, audiobook, or is it a physical book? I tried to loan somebody a book on Kindle the other day. Apparently, it doesn't work for every book, which kind of made me sad. I try to do rewards that are connected. For example, one of my goals this month is to go to the earlier church service. So my husband and I decided if we go, we get to go get brunch after. I love that. I also try to do rewards sometimes that are connected. Like I need a new pair of gym shoes really bad. And I'm going to make like a workout goal that if I hit it, I get my new gym shoes. Tammy, I need ideas on ways to celebrate. I'm so bad at just moving on to the next thing. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I just want to tell you, like, if you are moving on to the next thing, it doesn't mean that it does not, don't automatically think that you're doing a bad thing by not acknowledging or celebrating. Now, if you think that stopping to celebrate will help you stay motivated to keep working on to the next thing, then I would find a way to incorporate some sort of mini celebration that works for you. I was wondering how you prefer to read books. So for nonfiction, I prefer a physical book, and I really prefer a physical book that I own and get to highlight. Last year, I did get some from the library because I was not buying books in 2021. For fiction, I prefer the Kindle because it's faster and easier and I finish them quicker and it's more transportable. So I can take it with me everywhere on the subway, whatever. And I can keep reading my fiction books. I do like to get them from the library because I also don't find myself to be a big rereader unless it's like a series that I've loved forever, like Harry Potter or something like that. But I'm all over the place when it comes to reading. The only one I don't do is audiobooks. I don't do audiobooks. Debbie, I love this. Your highlight last week was joining Patreon. Thank you for joining us. And I'm so excited to have you. So fun. I love it. Everybody has different reading styles. It's so interesting to hear about. I also just love looking at them. Like I love looking at physical books, but I think once we have more space for books, it's going to be dangerous because I'm going to be like, well, now I have all the room. It's like Belle. And all the room for all the books. All right, we are getting close to the end. If you have any last minute questions, you can pop them in the chat, but I am going to go ahead and ask you my last question. Actually, before I do that, really quick, don't start answering it yet. There is no live next week. I meant to mention this earlier. There will be no live next week. I'm not here. There will be a YouTube video on Wednesday instead. Okay, now we will go into our last question, which is what is one thing that you will do this week to make progress on your goals? What is one thing that you are going to do to make progress on your goals? I want you to share in the chat. It does not have to be big. Share in the comments if you're watching the replay. What is one thing that you are going to do this week to work on your goals? Becca, I am not buying nonfiction. I'm not allowed to buy nonfiction. I'm allowed to buy fiction books on my Kindle only. No physical fiction books, no physical books. I'm not buying physical books, and therefore I'm not buying nonfiction because I don't like nonfiction on Kindle. So that's what it is. That's the answer. Tax document collecting. Oh man, that. Taxes. Mop and dust your house. Recreate your January. Continue knitting a baby blanket. Oh my God, that's so fun. Your January tending list. Emma, I love it. It's not too late. Walking outside. Love that. Read. Finish your February budget. Walk before work at least once this week. Start organizing your Christmas notebook. Maggie, it's January. That's amazing. That is amazing. Refresh your vision board from last year for 2022. I love that. Declutter your jewelry box and clean the jewelry you're keeping. That's a good one. Walking. Amanda, I thought you weren't going to walk on Wednesdays. What? It's not what you said. You're going to take today off from walking. Carrie, I love being a part of these lives, but I'm so grateful you post the recording. Of course. I mean, I think you can go back and listen to some of the older ones too that I think are all still incredibly helpful. We'll try a 1-sentence brain dump into your morning routine to try and add some writing. I love that. Walk the stairs of your apartment. Such a good one. Moved the treadmill out from the dining room to the basement to get actually on it. Declutter your kitchen. Put away your Christmas tree. Oh, it's so sad. I'm jealous of anyone who can walk outside. It's so cold. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that. Continue daily gratitude. Such a good one. Oh, you're walking because you want to, not because you have to. Okay. Potty train. Oh my goodness, Ashley, sending you all of the good vibes. Bring a book to work and schedule reading breaks. Jennifer, I love that plan for you. I think that is a fantastic idea. I am here to remind you that it doesn't take big steps. And even if all you get done in the next week is what you said in the chat, that's still progress. You're still making progress on your goals. And I hope that you are incredibly proud of that. And remember that we have the entire year ahead of us. We have so much time to accomplish all of our goals. Maggie, thank you. Thank you. It is coming up this weekend. I'm so excited. All right, y'all. This has been so much fun. If you wouldn't mind giving it a thumbs up before you head out, I would greatly appreciate that. And if you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday focused on helping you achieve your goals. Thank you so much for watching.